Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Becky from the External and Alumni Relations team at HKUST Business School. Thank you for joining us today. To promote healthier and more fulfilling lives, we launched the Wellness Series last year. This is the fourth workshop today. The workshop is about liver health, which is particularly important as now we are in spring, the best time to nurture and nourish our liver organ. The workshop will start with the presentation and the Q&A session will start at 1:40 p.m. Today, we are excited to have Ms. Clara Chen, an experienced registered Chinese medicine practitioner. Clara took the medical path after years of experience in the corporate world. So she has a deep understanding of challenges and stress that come with office lifestyle. Clara is passionate about promoting holistic health management over our minds and bodies amidst busy daily lives. Without further ado, let me pass the floor to Clara.
1 o'clock is a good afternoon, huh? So very nice to have these opportunities to share with the alumni of Hong Kong UST on how to promote liver health through Chinese medicine. I personally is a practicing clinician in TCM and with a research background, which is I did my PhD in Hong Kong U. So like a lot of things that we talk about is actually quite fact-based. And then like my passion is like to help people to go through this very hectic city life through using some TCM methodologies. My belief is like, if you can do it yourself, do it yourself. So like we have to learn. That's why knowledge base is so important. So in order to not to delay on any of the knowledge sharing, so we will start with like next slide. So before we get into our specific topic, I want to talk a little bit about the TCM. So like Chinese medicines basically has some fundamental differences in comparing to the conventional medicines that we are very familiar with. In Chinese medicines, we believe the human body is an organic unity, which means that the physical, mental, psychological, and spiritual aspect of an individual's are all interconnected and affected each other. So the sense of unity is based on the balancing force of yin and yang. And yin and yang is technically two opposite and yet complementary energies that are affecting everything. The theory of yin and yang is like is very fundamental to the practice of TCM in terms of understanding, diagnosis, and treating health issues. At the most basic and the deep level, TCM treatment the goal of TCM treatments is all seek to balance yin and yang in each person. And also in order to explain the integrity and complexity of the human bodies, Chinese medical scientists and physicians use the 5-element theory to classify the whole human body's endogenous influence on organs, physiological activities, pathological reactions, and environments, or even the external influences. And this is like a slide that I want to show you guys, is like to illustrate that from each visceral system that we're talking about, we do have its own functions, but it's also interconnected with emotions. And based on all this, like symptoms can arise in each particular systems, and we can actually detect those symptoms and get back to the diagnosis of which system has an imbalance. The internal organs and visceral system are more like physical structures. It's not just like a physical structures in a TCM views. They are complex system also involving aspect of, as I mentioned, the mind, emotion, and spirit. And not only does each organ have a physiological functions, its functions at the visible level and vital energy, or T, will affect the functions and also the health of each systems. So when we look at it, for example, we take liver, which is our topic today, as an example. The functions of the liver is primarily like governing the smooth flow of the energies and blood. It regulates the secretions like bile, and it also affects emotions like it has a particular emotions that related the most, like anger, like frustrations, like all these emotions will affect the general liver health. And when it's manifested as a symptoms, there's a whole list of symptoms, which we will talk about it later on. So back to our core of what we're going to talk about today. We want to understanding the whole liver system, what it can do, why is it so important in health from a TCM perspective. So as per it has been how it's being introduced. The liver system is actually belongs to the Wood elements in the 5 elements theory. So it's when we talk about it, like the season that related to wood elements is spring. So we in this particular spring season, the wood energy will want to rise up, want to push through, want to get things done. It's an active energy to unblock and develop, making spring a season of growth, rebirth, and renewal. Is all become part of the natures. Associated with the same elements is the liver and the gallbladder system of the human body. Together, these organs are like responsible for the smooth flow of qi and blood in the bodies and regulate emotions. And it's also our first responder channels to the stress in our life. Stress, remember the word stress, huh? Because like in city life or in a city like Hong Kong, stress is something that we cannot avoid. But we definitely need to deal with it. Otherwise, it will manifest in a lot of health problems and emotional problems. So the wood elements teach us how to be flexible and adaptable. And the taste of it's also the taste corresponding to wood elements is sour. So it also has some indication in our daily diets. Like for example, if we are craving for sour food, probably we do have some imbalance in our liver and gallbladder system. And so by doing that, probably we need, when we crave for it, maybe we just need it, right? So like maybe some sweet sour will help you to balance your liver health automatically already. And liver health is also closely related to the health of eye, our ligaments, and it's also closely related to our emotional anger. When you are extreme angry, like technically you are damaging your liver health. So to have a better understanding of like why those, when you go to see a Chinese medicine doctor, why people say that, oh, you have a headache, so you actually have a liver problem. So like that, we are not making it all up. Technically, what we are looking at is like how the liver meridian flow. So like particular problems that happens to your body can be along your liver meridian is related to your liver health. So just to understand a little bit more, that you can go to the screen and also like see how the whole meridian is moving. So the liver meridians originate from the lateral aspect of the big toes and ascend into your lower leg and then your upper leg, and then you get into your pubic areas, which circle your the genitals, and ascend in the lower abdominal, traveling up around the stomach, and then before entering the liver, it connected to the gallbladder meridian. What worth is noticing is the branch of it is actually penetrating through the diaphragm, spread into the chest, and ascended into the neck, which is going to the posterior of your throat, and then going up and to the around your eye tissues. That's why a lot of symptoms that we're experiencing in the throat, in the eye, we are also connected to your liver health, or reflected, or the health of the eyes will also be a mirror of what is happening inside too. So after passing through your eyes, it will go to your forehead and then end in the vertex, which is like we make with our dual meridian. So like another branch will also separate from the livers and go to merge back into the lung meridian. So by the flow, we can actually see that why some of the pain or the problems in our stomach system, in our lung system, and also in our eye, around our eye, is actually affected by the general liver health. And a lot of times when we find that there's a blockage along the meridian, we'll experience certain reactions. For example, a very common one is a spasm in the feet or lower back, and or lower leg. And also like when we have sometimes when you go to a doctor and find that, oh, I'm coughing out blood, your TCM doctor will tell you that your liver fire is actually like intruding into the normal functions of the lung meridian, which is like true because the meridian is all interconnected. And then like a lot of times it's also like people have red eyes, or they have yellow eyes, or if they have a dry eyes. We also like will consider, is it like basically have some imbalance in your lung that cause all this problem? If you are confused at this moment, don't worry about it, because like we are trying to explain one thing is the flow of a meridian has a direct relationships on how we judge the symptoms and how we work on the symptoms. And that's, we have a definite reason on why we say that is related to the lung meridian or the lung health. So in the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about more about what the liver function is supposed to be. Am I going too fast? It's okay, right? Or should I slow down? Yeah, I'll slow down a little bit in the next couple of slides so that we can have a better explanations on like what the TCM perspective on liver functions. So according to Western medicine, which is we mentioned as a conventional medicines in this slide, according to that, conventional medicines with liver with numerous functions, but then it all sum up into it plays an important roles in the digestions, metabolism, detoxifications, coagulations of blood, and also blood productions and immune modulations. So it's a lot of those functions is like related to the production of biles or proteins for the blood plasma. It also like, because like blood is actually liver is actually an organ that store blood and regulate blood. So technically, it basically has a lot of functions that's related to any blood-related disease. And also it processes hemoglobin. If it doesn't have a proper functions, then you will experience like jaundice and other problems that is related to the improper processing of hemoglobin. The most common like people that understand liver is detox functions, which is like in TCM, we are also like acknowledge all these functions, especially the one that is blood related. But on top of it, our TCM perspective has some additional contributions to how we understand the proper liver functions. The key functions that we look at from a TCM point of view, liver is mainly responsible for the smooth flow of TM blood in our body. It controls the volume and smooth flow of blood in the vessels and also store the blood, which is not quite different from the conventional medicine. Its dispersion functions, however, don't only limit to regulate the TM blood, but it also serve to regulating our emotions, our digestive functions, and also fertility, which is like fertility is a very common problem we experience in the modern world. And a lot of infertility problems that happens to the women is actually quite related to their liver functions and also liver health. The eyes is the sensory organ related to liver. If you have any eye issues, including blurry visions, red or dry eyes, itchy eyes, it may be a sign that deep down is that your liver is not functioning properly. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we go to how this is in the next couple of slides. Another thing is worth noticing is the tendon. Tendon is like a ligament, it's the tissues associated with liver. We recognize that strengths come from the tendons, not muscles. Because we want to be flexible, we want to be strong and agile, just like a cat, instead of like only have muscles like a cow. And liver health is also like, apart from that, like that is also explained that why liver, when they're governing the ligament, is actually determining how effective is our mobility and also our agility, which is all very important for getting us or preventing us from getting old or frail. So liver health is very important, so far, as we explained. And another thing is like the fact that like it store blood and also like the blood storage is actually give us a very important functions of like modulate the whole energy in our body. Like the storing blood functions is not quite different from the what the conventional medicines is understanding. So the conventional medicines also mention that liver has the function of regulate blood levels and also the content in the blood. So TCM has the same understanding. Another things that probably like the worth mentioning is, which is like conventional medicines never mentioned, that is like in TCM point of view, on the spiritual side, liver is responsible to nourish our spiritual consciousness, which we call one. Kun is like responsible for motivate our higher desire and passions. And if the liver blood is too low and not too nourishing it, we will feel quite irritable and distracted, unable to concentrate. And also if the liver T is too low, we will also experience anxiousness and lack of confidence, which is like probably everybody don't want to get into that situations. And then this slide, we are talking about like how our liver energies or the T in the liver can actually affecting a lot of symptoms from happening if it don't have a smooth flow, or the blood in the liver don't have a smooth flow. So like we have internal reasons and then also external elements that affect our liver T and blood. For example, I mentioned before, if you are very angry, you know, like your T and blood will rush upward and your T flow is not smooth, especially the liver T flows, then we'll end up with migraines, dizziness, or distractions. Like this will become like some of the symptoms you experience. And if it's like coming to a very extreme state, then probably it can also cause a stroke or like a burst of blood vessels in the upper area. So another thing that always like intruded into our T flow is frustration and stress. When you're frustrated, your T don't move around freely. So the frustration and stress will get to a state we call T stagnations, which means that the T flow is blocked and cannot move in a way that it is like in its optimal level. And T stagnation is always the cause of like menstrual pain, bloating, chest pain. Anything that don't move smoothly will cause pain. And then also like T stagnations is also like affecting the movement of things that need to be moved. For example, like if you your ovary is like releasing an egg, and if the T movement is not good, then probably it will block the fallopian tube and don't have a good flow of the energy through it, and it end up as like affecting the fertilities of the woman or affecting the proper embedment. So like T stagnation is the state that we don't want to have, because like it affects actually a lot of aspects, including a mood, and also like including it can be a deep cause. If it's a continuous T stagnation for a long period of time, it probably will cause some mood swings, and also the worst is like you can get into depressions. So another thing is like that can affect is external factors. For example, if we take too much different drugs, if we have too much alcohol, if we and taking too much poison, then it will also obstruct the flow of T and blood in our body. And the blood is stagnated in the liver, then it will affect our detoxifying functions. It will have cause cysts, or like they will cause like other blood stagnations in the liver, and it will end up with like tumor. So like technically we want everything to flow. We don't want anything to be like just fixed in one place and then like become something else. So another things that I want to mention is the irregular lifestyle, which is like basically like you don't sleep on time, you have a bad sleep hygienes, and or you are over exercising, because sometimes that can be that a cause of that too. And then it will also for those elements, it will also cause liver T stagnations. And then like with that, it also like, and this type of T stagnations will also deter your abilities to regulate your bowel secretions. And bowel secretions is crucial for our digestion. So like if your bowel secretions is not properly regulated, it will lead to indigestions or even stomachache or any other digestive problem. So as a whole, that we are just trying to see, like, it's not just your liver can go wrong because of aging or because like infections. It can be deeply affected if you have wrong emotions, if you have under constant stress. It can, whatever that you've done in your lifestyle, and also like the what you intake. So those are very important to take a note of. So this is a slide that actually we kept most of the pattern of suboptimal liver health in our life. So this is also like what we see clinically most of the time. So I want to mention this, like what I really want to mention is the liver T stagnations and the liver blood deficiency. So like, because like when we saw liver T stagnations, you will see a lot of recently very popular symptoms is actually related to that, including ripping, including mood swings, and also the bulging of the stomach, and also the reflux. The other things that we want to talk about is like blood is very important in the whole scenario, because if you have liver blood deficiency, you will basically not able to nourish along all the organs that the liver meridian is traveling, so that will end up with like a blurred visions. You may have eye floaters, you may have numbness in the along the line of the meridians traveling. You will have cramps, and sometimes it will also affect your sleeping quality by the end of the day. So, but apart from this, the chi and blood things, sometimes you will have, like when you have a lot of angers inside, extreme emotion will also cause the liver yang over rising. So that will cause, this is the main reason why you have headaches, tinnitus, dry eyes, and sometimes even is a cause of stroke. And the other thing is like the dam heat that trap in the liver meridian, because like when the T don't move right, then there will be easy to trap the heat inside. And when the heat is there, it will be in a seasons like Hong Kong, or in the in a geographical area like Hong Kong, we always experience what we call subheat. It's like the dam and heat is trapped together. So that will cause another whole series of problems. Like, for example, there will be over discharge from the vagina. You will have your, you may even have fever and have nauseousness, and also like the urination may be like the colors will be darker, and so it's not properly regulating the whole system. So so that technically that's like basically what we are pretty concerned about, and it's a very common symptoms. Another things that worth mentioning is the liver yang is actually can generate winds. Like when you have see people that have convulsions, or like partial facial paralyzing, or even like more important or more serious symptoms like hemiplegia. This like is all related to what in a TCM point of view is all related to wind, and the internal wind is normally generated by an excessiveness of energies in the liver. Excessive energy is not a good energy. It's like we want everything to be balanced. Like if like you have excessive on one thing, doesn't mean that you are better. We always talk about the yin yang balance, right? We want it to be balanced. We don't want it to be excessive. So when, just like for this example, if you have excessive energies with a yang energy in the liver, it will generate internal wind, and it will actually cause symptoms too. Okay, so take 1 minute break. So when we really talk about it, is like we talk about a lot of the why liver health is so important, why it causes a lot of symptoms, and why and how we observe ourselves in order to see whether we have an imbalance. Now we come to the second part of presentation, is like we want to share with you guys on how can we promote our liver health in our approach. And we will talk about like something that you can do by yourself first. And then we'll like also mention what it need to be done when you need to seek professional help, when you need to seek professional help, what the TCM doctors actually can help you on. And then like we'll end up with like some simple do's and don'ts, and then we will go into our Q&A sessions. Okay, so first thing first, as I keep on mentioning, it's all about tea and blood, and it's real, it's all about tea and blood. So in order to have a healthy liver, first things of all is that you have to promote a very healthy tea flow. And the other thing is like the second thing, but it's not like us, but not least, is like you have to enhance our blood volumes and also enhance its flow. So like by promoting tea flow, we can prevent tea sedation, which is like the main cause of a lot of our symptoms. It's the most popular problems that we experience in the liver problem. And then like we also like want to avoid excessive tea rising. We just mentioned if excessive tea rising, we can get into turn into wind, and it cause a lot of problems. And then like, and the last things is like we want to avoid excessive liver tea to harm the functions of other functions. In our theory of 5 elements, like we want every element to be balanced, because then over excessive energy in one element can actually harm the other one. For example, for the wood elements, which is where our liver tea is related to, if they have excessive, they will also like harming the lung and also harming the spleen system. So which means that like, for example, we have already mentioned, like because if there's overactive on the liver tea, they will affect the digestive functions, and they will also like causing bloating and causing other problems that or even a stomach pain. And then like if too much energy flows or too much excessive tea going into the lung system, it will suppress the lung system, and it will cause cough, and sometimes the cough is mainly those with dry cough with blood. So we actually has a lot of experience in clinical side, and we figure out that in order to deal with those problems, first of all, we have to rebalance the liver tea in the body. So another thing is blood, there's never an too excessive blood in the liver. So because like more blood, we have more nourishings, and then blood volume can be adjusted by liver system itself. So, but if the blood volume is under, or like it's not with our optimal flow, then we will fail to nourish our liver, and it causes a lot of symptoms. And prevent liver blood and liver deficiency is very important. So like, which means that blood volumes doesn't limit to liver blood, like our total blood volume has to be enriched. And also like, when we have enhanced blood volumes and flow, we can also prevent the liver yang from rising too much. And as I mentioned, that because excessive rising of liver tea will actually, or liver yang can generate wind, and will end up with a lot of other problems. So yin and yang has to be in balance. In the relationship between tea and blood, tea is on the yang side and blood is on the yin side. So we have to ensure that our yin has no deficiency, so that we can achieve to holding the liver tea in right positions, and it can to enhance the total balance. Okay, so again, first thing first, what can we do in daily life to help that? How can we regulate and promote the proper flow? So點樣先可以梳理到個肝氣嚇? So a couple of suggestions that we can give, and which is can get into your daily practices, is like, of course you can go and see a doctor and have Chinese herbs that promote qi movement. But then if you want to do it yourself, one of the very easy way of doing it is have some floral tea, like the floral tea, including like the chrysanthemum tea, the rose tea, and actually every flower tea has that powers of like making the tea flow better. And then like another thing is like, I think it's like a self-awareness of we need to manage stress and extreme emotion instead of letting it go, and instead of letting it keep on escalating. Sometimes we have to know how to reduce it and let it go. Stress management is a total different topic that we can have another presentation to talk about. But then the self-awareness is the beginning of it. Like you have to learn when is the time that you're being stressed, and then you have to manage your environment a little bit so that you don't go excessive. And also like, don't let your emotion keep escalating, no matter is which emotions. Definitely not anger, because anger will have a direct relationship to the liver health. But then other emotions, if it's sadness, too happy, anything that is extreme can sort of like block the normal T flow. So this is not what we want to happen in when we talk about liver health. So and acupuncturists and other manual therapists actually can promote T flow. Like for example, if you do some scraping, if you do some cupping, so that you can actually unblock some blood stagnations in your body, then it will also promote the smooth flow of the energies in your body, which is we call the T flow. Another thing is that appropriate amount of aerobic exercise, including jogging, including dancing if you want. So it's just like to anything that move your energy and blood will help that. But excessive is also not a suggestible, because when you are too tired, you probably will deter your blood productions, and also you're like overwasted your energies, which is also not suggestible. And one thing I want to mention here, exercise is not, as much as possible, is the best options for you to go for. You have to understand your body, and you have to understand like how much is appropriate amount for you. So a lot of people's like just believe that more exercise is better. They end up depleting their energies and end up like too much, depleted too much, and end up with other problems in the body. So I want to mention a little bit more about managing stress in related to T flow or the avoiding T stagnations. So I keep on talking about understand yourself and your environment, because like there are a lot of micro stressor that actually can, or annoying factor, then keep you very stressful, you know, like, and a lot of those is generated from the environment, like noise, like certain routine that your family or your kids want you to do. So like you have to identify those which make you feel stressed, and then you have to solve those problems. If you don't, like those are, what are those? Those are the irritating, frustrating, distressing demand. You know, so like basically is those that happen in your everyday, and you don't pay attention to that. But if you pay more attention to that, you can find a way of managing it, or we eliminate it from your life. And the other thing is to build your defense, because when you are tired, when you don't have energy, you technically cannot like deal with all the stress. So stress managing strategies, one thing is very important is to build your defense. You know, like you sleep well, you eat well, you have fun, you be a happy person, have, you know, like equip yourself with different life skills, so that when you do a presentation, you don't have to use like 5 days, you can use like 2 days. And then so like technically when you do things that you don't know how to do, is normally more stressful. So build up those life skills so that you don't have to deal with things in a way that is depleting your energy. And also heal yourself of stress releasing tools. Like there's a lot of things you can do, in some work for some people and some don't work for some people. So like physical exercise is a very good way of like managing stress. Breathing technique, relaxation techniques, meditations, you know, like there's endless like endless method that you can actually help yourself. And so like seek out for those, and then like and practice it. That is the best way of like doing stress management. And then like as for blood, like we are talking about blood. So when we come to blood enhancing, there are, apart from Chinese herb, or you know like or other manual therapies, I to enhance blood, we need materials to go into our body. So proper nutrition is very important. So like balanced nutrition and use blood enhancing food. A very simple guideline is that you want to enrich your blood, you take food or veggie that is red and dark in colors. For example, some of the superfood are cherries, any type of berries, and for example, beetroots, which is all in red colors, and figs, and also like blueberries, and also like maybe like a couple of like dark wood fungus. This is all in dark colors, and it actually back beans per se, and they all help you to increase your blood profiles and enhancing blood productions. Apart from all that, if you're not a vegetarian, I also encourage people to take a small amount of red meat each week, because like there's some micronutrients in there you need it to produce your blood. And another thing is like another things that is like I want to mention is sleep. If you don't sleep well, if you don't rest well, your liver, when the meridian travel to the liver and the gallbladder meridians in the around is the gallbladder meridian is from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. and the liver meridian is 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. So like when they are trying to restore your liver health, when they're trying to when you lay flat, your blood go back to your liver, right? So like when you lay down properly. So like if you can sleep during this period of time, your detox function will drastically improve, and also your liver health can be secure. So like light life is not good for liver, period. So like technically just go more by yourself and adjust your lifestyle so that you can nourish your liver properly. And I would just want to mention a little bit more on the sleeping quality, because it's a lot of people have sleeping problem in our city, right? Like, so like, again, it's about like understand yourself, understand your sleeping pattern and your environment, manage the disturbance. As I said, the disturbance can be your electronic equipment, can be the caffeine that you take in the afternoon, can be the late night sweat, yeah, and then or the late night sweet that you take. Like for example, a lot of people have the habit of taking some dark chocolate like before they go to bed, which is not a bad thing. But then like some people, when they grow older, they cannot take it anymore because it will cause their reflux. So like understand what caused your or disturb your sleep. And uncomfortable temperatures and humidity can be part of the cause, right? And also again, build your defense, avoiding all blue light before you go to bed, like practicing breathing exercise and mindfulness. And some people find it very useful if you do stretching and exercise during the day or before you go to bed. That will also like help you to get onto a better sleep. So if you cannot do it just by yourself, you need help, then probably you can download some calming music, use the meditation app like Calm, do some foot bath if you go to bed, and use the eye massagers per se, and those are using aromatherapy. So those are tools that is easily accessible and also help you to get in a deeper sleep. Better sleeping quality helps you to produce blood, and it will also in turn to help you to get a better liver health. Okay, so the last bit of it, when to seek professional help. Okay, I list a couple of things that probably will experience, and then if those happen to you, then maybe you should just get a professional help and I'll go to talk to a TCM doctor or go to talk to a doctor. So like those including, one is a chronic fatigue. A lot of people overlook it. A lot of chronic fatigue is due to a poor liver system. And then like, as I said, that irritable eyes and poor eyesight, pain around the liver and ribcage area or your crotch. The crotch is like sometimes people don't associate with liver, but if you have persistent pain around your crotch area, it's also like a time that we think about like how can we connect it to liver health, or any type of involuntary muscle movement, or if you have severe headache or migraine, it can be also a liver imbalance. as I said, like it's a poor digestions, and also one thing that probably a lot is a common knowledge is like high blood pressures in a lot of cases also related to a liver imbalance, which is when we treat high blood pressure, a lot of times we are dealing with the liver health too. So what we will do, like as a TCM doctor, so technically we will do your body type analysis to see where your imbalance is, like what is the best lifestyle that you can cope better with the stress. And then another thing is that we'll do manual therapy for stress and pain release, for example, some massage or cupping or scraping, just to have an instant release of your imbalance. And pain-free is also part of the way of the dealing with the stress, because like it's very stressful when you always have some pain that reminding you are in a suboptimal health situations. So we will collect the T-flow, we will calm the excessive emotions. Mainly is done by acupuncture and herbal medicine. And the last things we may do for you is probably enhance the visceral functions, which in this case the liver functions, and also the blood productions and the circulations. So we'll give you some herbal medicines or diet suggestions. What I want to mention is like we want to achieve the balance, but sometimes the balance is easier to achieve when your imbalance is not excessive. So that's why we always emphasize on Yangsang. It's like to maintaining your health instead of dealing with the symptoms. So the last slide, sorry, yeah. So like the last slide of the presentations is the do's and don'ts. So like, I think it's like very simple, very like mindful. So like, do manage your stress and emotions. Eat well, enhance blood productions. Sleep well, rest well, exercise, and use other therapies to maintain your proper T-flow, achieve blood flow. And don't forget to seek professional advice when you have doubt. The don'ts is more important. The don't let extreme emotion linger and take over. Don't consume excessive alcohol, because alcohol actually can damage the liver health directly. And don't go to bed too late. And don't consume excessive other toxics, for example, including too much drugs and supplements, artificial flavors, and or artificial coloring in the processed food. And the other, of course, like preservative is one of those fall into that category. And please don't neglect signs like high blood pressures, persistent pain, and change of color conditions, because it can all big reflections of your liver health. Okay, so basically I'm done with my presentations, and then if we can get into our Q&A sessions.
So thank you so much, Clara. If any participants have got questions, welcome to type them in the chat box. But also we received some questions earlier at the registration, so we could also start with those. So feel free to write your questions in the chat box.
Okay, so if because we only have around like 20 minutes to round this off on the Q&A, so we'll touch on questions that is the most relevant to our topic today. You know, I got a couple of questions actually pointing to the same things. One is how to improve the fatty liver functions. I think that what actually you want to ask is like how to deal with fatty liver. Yeah, so so like, or how to keep. Yeah, okay, so let's deal with the fatty liver first. Like fatty livers from a TCM point of view is like more like a flame accumulations in the liver area. So as we know on our basic knowledge is like fatty liver is due to accumulated of the fatty cells in the liver. And a lot of people is pointing it towards the diet, you know, so like if you have a fatty liver, first of all, you have to look at is how you eat. But I don't want to give a plain suggestion as like a lot of people in the internet will do is, oh, you just reduce your fat intake. This probably is not the right answer. The right answer is like we have to look at your metabolism, and also like why you deliver why you start to have this retention of fat in your body. We look at those retentions as a frame accumulations, frame as like it's like accumulate water or accumulate unprocessed elements that actually stagnated in the liver. So as I said that what we really still look at the total health. So we want to enhance the T flow and the energy flow. We also want to enhance the blood flow, because when everything is like in a proper circulations, that it will take away the toxics from there, and then it will prevent the accumulations. But before we come to that point, it's like, I think we have to look at our diet and also our living pattern, or like our life patterns. So look for some suggestions. You can go to a dietitians, you can go to TCM doctors, and talk to them regarding what is the food change that you need to do. So food intake is the first line. And then it's like how you exercise more and don't overeat. So like technically, I'm not asking people to go on a particular diet, because there's just not a particular diet that will fit everybody. So, but then like we will normally, when you come to us, we will analyze your body type, and we will also like look at, are you taking excessive sugar? Are you taking excessive carbo? Or is it really the fat that you are over consuming? A lot of times it's not about fat consuming. A lot of times it's like in the real world, people, especially for those people who is very health conscious and they still have fatty liver, is like normally it's the over intake of the carbohydrates. So we have to look at your total pattern, and then we have to look at your lifestyles. And metabolism happen when you rest. If you don't rest properly, that probably is also a contributor to your fatty liver. So if you want a fatty liver is the first sign of that your liver is getting unhealthy. It can totally be reversed. If you get back into a healthy lifestyle and you modify your diet, there's a very high chance that people can get a positive result or reductions of the fatty liver in their next examinations. Okay. So the other questions that I got is like, what downsides exist with the preventive liver treatment? So as I said that, like, I'm not encourage people to take a lot of drugs sort of to enhance the liver health. Well, like a lot, first line, everything is going step by step. So like change of lifestyles, work on your nutrition before you take any drugs, including Chinese herbal medicines. It's like when you come to see me in the clinic, a lot of patients is asking, oh, what should I take in order to improve my liver health? I'm more focused on a reduction method, like what you shouldn't do, what you shouldn't eat, what you shouldn't like practice, what you should change in your daily practices. If you can, a lot of times by doing this, by this reduction method, you already can better your liver health. So like, I think it's a very Hong Kong people's approach. It's like, they always want to do more. When you come to, can I do more so that I can be better? Sometimes it's not about more, it's about less. So like less consumption of certain things, then probably will give you a better balance. Okay, so any more questions that you, so the other questions I have is like, I often have sweat when sleeping and red lips when waking up in the morning. How to balance the body? Okay, the symptom itself is may not be just solely contributed by liver problems, but like but bad sleeping quality or red lips, which is like the heated situations, can be a reflective or can be a contributors also like to the liver's health. So I think having nice sweat is always like related to a SHU or like a deficiency syndromes. So like it's always like it can be related to liver health, but it can also related to your lung, meridian health, and other health issues. So we do have methods that control the sweating, but first of all, go back and see if your room is really too hot or is it too humid? Because in the middle of the night, if you can start sweating, it can be the humidity too. So control your environment before you try to do something or some pharmacological interference. And you also, if you are in deep sleep, you probably don't aware that you are sweat. So like basically, so try to enhance the sleeping quality through the method that I've already suggested. And red leaves is because when waking up is because of the dryness, and also like because like the it can be some excessive fire in the body that reflected. So like in order to balance it, if you really feel heated inside, then balance with something that is like cold in natures, or like or something that is like for example, I will give a couple of examples. Like if you really feel that, you can try some chrysanthemum tea to start off with it. And also like you can also try some, but don't go for the 凉茶, which is like very severe, because like, it can damage your digestive system if you go for something that is very seriously cold without a guidance from the TCM doctors. And then let's see. Another questions I got is, how can one do if liver enzymes are too high? And okay, so when your liver enzyme is high, your liver is actually quite sick already, you know, because like in a balanced situations, your enzyme won't go rising. So like we have to, if you really have an enzyme, high enzymes, so like technically you have to lead your liver rest better, first line, okay? And then like, of course, you have to work with the Western doctor to see if there's any cause in our actual cause behind it. A lot of times when people have rise of enzyme, it can be looked at that they have an over exercise of the liver, which is they need a lot of detoxification function they need to perform. So like, why you need to detox so much? Is there something that you intake? Is there any drugs? A lot of times a rising of enzyme is related to drugs intake, like including herbal medicine. So it's because there are people who have different sensitivity to different drugs or even supplement. So by eliminations, like talk to your doctors, or either Western doctors or liver specialists, is any possibilities that whatever that your supplement or your herbal medicine or whatever that you intake as man-made drugs actually is causing the excessive over-exercise of liver functions. Yeah, and then and which compromise your detoxification abilities. So or any there's also another possibility is immuno attack. So is there any possibilities that there's an immuno imbalance happening in the body? From a pure TCM point of view, we always like want to calm it down. You know, for probably again by elimination, if you're continuous taking herbal medicine, we probably stop that for a little while to eliminate each elements and find out whether what is the root cause of your over exercising of the liver. And for the next questions I have is like, how should me regulate diet life to be border less of damn heat trap in liver? Okay, that is from a diet point of view, technically less deep fried things, less heaty things, like curry, like anything that will actually cause heat in the body. And also for as a normal regulations, you can have more floral tea that is on the colder side. And for example, chrysanthemum is one of them, chamomile is one of them. And those will technically help you to get the tea flow better in your liver, and also like get the heat out of your body. A lot of heat can be carried out by very simple medicine, but then like resting is another thing. So because if you are people will generate internal heat if they are not resting properly. So that's why sleeping properly or rest properly is also very important. So I thought that like if you really cannot get rid of it, TCM has a lot of method to instantly or like to clear it out. But then lifestyle and diet is more important than anything. So we got to make sure that even if we clear out your damn heat, doesn't mean that it won't reaccumulate back. So it's more important to improve your lifestyle than just like asking for help from the medicinal doctors. So liver health definitely. Another question I got is liver health related to eyesight? Definitely, because like in Chinese medicines, we have a saying of like 血不陽乾. If your blood is like very weak, your blood profile is not good, if you don't have enough blood flow or blood enrichment, then your liver functions will be compromised. And as we already talked about, the liver meridian, the eye health is actually being nourished by the liver meridian. And if like our liver is not healthy enough, it will compromise our abilities to have a good eyesight. And apart from the good eyesight, it's like also like you, as I mentioned before, you may have some more floaters, and also like and if you have excessive T going up because of lack of blood, then it will have a red eye, a dry eye. And if your processing of the hemoglobin is not well in your liver, you may even have yellow eye white. So like technically, the eye is indicators of our liver health a lot of times. So don't over like or undermine, I would say, don't undermine those indicators, because like it will give you a first sign of like we may need to some work on your rebalancing of your liver. So I think it's the last questions that I can entertain. So what's your view on taking vitamins every day? Okay, don't take vitamins when you don't need it. Like because every manufactured drugs and do have you need to sort of like going through your liver and kidney system in order to process it. So like, but we always need to balance the good side and the bad side of supplements. If you really are lack of something, or you're not confident whether you are lack of something, sometimes like it's still worthwhile to doing it. But when there's a two things you have to be aware. It's not like the more the better. I know patients that come to see me and they take 20 something pills a day, all in supplement. So I thought that is excessive. But there are people that we actually need some help. For example, when the just like when the pregnant woman they folate, they want to ensure that they have enough of it. I think that's okay. People when they grow older, and you have to have more omega-3 for your heart health, when you take some fish oil as supplement, I think that's okay. There's two basic principles. More natural, you know where the vitamins coming in, or supplements, what the effective elements coming in is better. A more natural form is the better. For example, when I want omega-3, I would take flaxseed oil, I will take fish oil. I won't take a manufactured omega-3 per se. So there are things that we look at, and also look for some manufacturers or some pharmacy that is reputable. I would probably from a country that has a lot of regulations on supplement is also important. For example, like for Australia, they have a very they have a much more stringent regulations on supplements than in comparing to say US. So when I personally I'm not a vitamin expert, but when I choose my own vitamin, I would choose from probably an Australian manufacturer. So those are things that and also reputable one. So like it's something that you need to do your homework and find out what is more beneficial to yourself.
Thank you very much, Clara, for the informative session. And Clara has kindly provided some Chinese medicine treatments as the lucky draw prizes. So if you want to enter this lucky draw, and if you want to get the PowerPoint slides just now, please type in your email addresses in the chat box. A big thank you to Clara. And at the same time, we would like to hear what you think about this session. Please complete a simple survey by scanning the QR code on our PPT now. Thank you very much for coming. Wish you all a nice afternoon.
Bye.